but let's talk a little bit more with author Ronald A. Williams, the author of A Death in Panama. And before we went to the break, Katrina had given him this really, really profound and in-depth question about dealing with the issue of men leaving their families and what happens to the society.
One interesting thing that I try to emphasize in the book is that women actually come very much to the fore in that society. So the village that's created in A Death in Panama actually shows all these roles being distributed now across the women. It talks, for example, there's one scene where the lead character, Audrey, is looking into the fields, and she thinks that, you know, a couple of years ago, the women who were out there killing the weeds with the cans, right? Would never have had the opportunity to do that. And since these jobs were paid better, they were actually making less money because they were usually weeding and so on. So the jobs become distributed across the women. That's one thing. The other thing that comes out pretty dramatically in the book, though, is that how women treat their sexuality when there are fewer men around. The few men around, and you see this in the animal kingdom as well, by the way, but the few men around, in a sense, become objects. You know, because sexuality then becomes a necessity. It's divorced in a sense from love. They understand that. And the men, on the other hand, see it as a mechanism by which they can be predators. But the women view it very differently. And the book struggles with that particular issue as well.
All right, so that answers that question. Let's look at where we can get the book.
For sure.
You know, you had a signing yesterday. Are there going to be any other such?
Not this time, because I'm heading back out of the country on Sunday, but I'll probably back.
You're leaving Barbados for the USA?
Not so, am I? But I'll be back in a couple of months. I'm down here every 3 months or so anyway, and so we'll be doing something else in 2 or 3 months. But it's the book can be had now at any of the Cape Shepherd outlets around the country. It's also available on Amazon, and for those of you who like electronic reading, it's available on Kindle. As well.
Katrina?
Oh, so yes. we can get it in a variety of ways. I'm really excited about this book, largely because it was the first book that I sat down and really plotted out.
But not your first book.
No, it's not. Four Saints and an Angel.
Yeah.
Yes, I was down here last year, and I've got a third one in final editing stage right now, which will be a little bit of a departure, by the way, from what I've been doing with Caribbean work.
Which one? What will this one be about?
It's called A Voice from the Tomb. It's a trilogy, and the first book is called Andrea's Descent, and it's going to be set between the U.S. and Antarctica with a broad African emergence theme. So I think people will be interested in that next year.
Does this mean a trip to Antarctica for research?
You know, it was funny. Just a quick aside. When I did the book, and I actually was chairing the Education and Human Resources Division, the board of the division of the National Science Foundation in the U.S. We were sending lots of people to Antarctica at the time, funding the research, and I wanted so badly to go, but it would look awful, right? If you were the chair and you're not a scientist, and you'd be sending yourself to Antarctica, which is very expensive. So I didn't actually go to Antarctica. I spent a lot of time, though, speaking with people we sent, so that I authenticated a number of the things.
I find your book titles really interesting, though.
They're
I mean,
riveting.
Four Saints and an Angel.
Yeah.
A Death in Panama, and the one to come, A Voice from the Tomb.
Yes, yes. If you want me to comment on that for a second.
Yes, I want you.
That really deals with, it's a really broad theme. It starts with a question, like most of my books do, about revelations and what the end of the world, in fact, would be like. So I took 1,200 pages to work out that question for myself over 3 books. But it weaves all the kinds of things I usually put in my books. It's a love story. It's a story that's intellectual in the sense that it investigates religion, investigates churches, and so on.
I want to put it out there, you know, that we didn't just jump on this book at the last moment, because on the back there's a review from the Pages Book Club of CBC TV Barbados, which says an authentic representation of island life at its best. And I was just glancing through this, and I saw a word inside the book that I hadn't seen or heard for a while. And it says, maybe he thought with a wry smile, I've been talking to those West Indians Negroes for too long. Next thing you know, I'll be looking over my shoulders for a sukuya.
Okay. Okay, no. You have to educate.
Do you have a glossary?
Yeah.
No.
You don't know what's a sukuya?
You gotta tell me.
You don't know what's a
You don't know what
sukuya?
sukuya is? No.
Suck me sukuya. Yeah, that song by Crazy.
Okay. That's what he was saying.
Actually, a sukuya is supposed to be somebody who turns in the middle of the night and goes around, flies around and suck your blood, so you wake up with strange marks on your skin.
And you have-
and it was somebody in the neighborhood.
And the context for that, you're absolutely right. And the context for that is that as the workers disappear from the canal to build this other secret project, the West Indians don't know where they're going. So the West Indians start to explain these disappearances.
And that's why.
And we're very good at weaving folklore and myth.
Yeah, but this is
around-
reminding me of like the whole Laja Bless story
Bless.
when I was talking with that. So, yeah, I'm telling you. But Caribbean, interesting as ever, as always.
Wonderful. Dr. Williams, it's really great to talk
Thank
to you.
you.
We could chat all morning about this, I think, and I can't wait to get my hands on my own copy of the book. Looking forward to the third in your series. We started with Four Saints and an Angel. Now it's Death in Panama, and the next one?
A Voice in the Tomb.
A Voice in the
next year
Tomb.
sometime, right?
Voice in
Which
the
in
Tomb.
itself would be a trilogy.
Yes.
All
yes.
right.
So there's plenty more to look forward to from
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Good stuff.
you. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Dr. Williams.
pleasure.
It's great
Thank
to
you
chat
all.
with you. We'll be back here on Morning Barbados. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we've got a lot more for you, so please don't go.